Hey guys, Dr. Decks here. Welcome to another episode of the Dr. Decks podcast. Today, my special guest is Mr. Jeff Beck from Stabila, USA. Jeff, thank you so much for being here. Tell us a little bit about you and what you're doing with the company right now.
Thanks, Jason. It's great to be here. My name is Jeff Beck. I'm actually president and CEO of Stabila North America. So I've been with the company about 5.5 years right now.
Awesome. And so, why don't you give our audience a brief description of what Stabila is?
Well, it's interesting because when I came from DeWalt, I was familiar with Stabila, but I didn't realize how many contractors weren't familiar with Stabila as a brand. And basically, we're a high-end level and laser manufacturer out of Germany. We're kind of similar to what I would call like the Festool in the hand tool market. So you won't find us in stores like Home Depot, Lowe's, or Menards. So therefore, we're a little bit different than the rest of the hand tool industry.
Yeah, we're talking about a high-quality German-made product. Now, we'll get into this later, but I went with Jeff. Stabila, the mothership, invited Kiki and I to come over and see exactly how your product is made. And Jeff, you happened to be on that trip as well, and that's where we really got to know you, was from that trip. And some other big influencers that have been on our podcast were there. Tim from Awesome Framers, Kyle from RR Buildings were there as well. And we got the full explanation of how your product is made. And I was already sold on your product before then. My wife bought me a jam kit like 20 years ago from Gray Lumber, my local lumber yard in Tacoma. And as like she didn't know what to get me, and she happened to be by there, and they go, "Oh, get him one of these," And she got me one of those, and one of those, I still have those. Those levels from 20 years ago. It's kind of one of those. You guys are almost putting yourselves out of business in a fashion because your products don't break. They last forever, man.
It is interesting how many times I've been to sites where a guy is using an old 186 frame that we haven't made for 15 years or more. And every time I see it, they're like, "Hey, do you want this for your museum?" Because it still works. It's still in great shape. It's still accurate. And I'm like, "Nah, thanks." The number of offers I've had for the museum stuff, I don't need anything. But yeah,
right.
No,
they want a new one, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of like new and clean.
Sure, yeah, we'll trade you. The R-beams are hard to beat, man. Like you can't, I have the dark, me, I love black, right? Mm-hmm. So you guys send me these dark shadows. I'm like, ooh, these are bad. Oh, sorry, these are bad, and I love them, but you cannot take that R-beam out of my hand.
It's so funny because the R-beam is my absolute favorite level that we make. And very few people know about it because it doesn't look like your standard level. It's not the box frame. It's rounded on the edges. Right. But that thing is so durable. And I love it every time I see one of your posts. There's usually an R-beam somewhere in the background.
Everywhere, dude. And that's the thing is I throw an 8-foot R-beam for every Stabila challenge. And I'll be honest, it's the same level every single time since I started doing it. Since I got that R-beam and started throwing those levels across my decks to show people how flat they are, I've used the exact same level. Now there's a couple dents in it, but it's still true as the day I got it. It's still that beautiful bright yellow. And it does everything I need it to do. It's straight as an arrow, and we don't try to let it.
And it gets views.
Oh man, yeah. Like you said, like every time, just while we're framing a deck, I'll throw the drone up in the air, and I'm like, "Oh man, we forgot to clear the Stabila. Leave them up there." and you just see the product all the time and what we're working. But that just goes to show you, we're not showing this product just because we want to show it. We're showing it because we use it. And we use it because it's so accurate.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you don't really understand the accuracy of a Stabila until you have one and the durability that it has. I was familiar with Stabila before I joined. I worked for DeWalt for 26 years in various
Wow.
roles. Yeah, I actually
I didn't.
started.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, no, I actually started in '93 with DeWalt. I started as an assistant service center manager in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Wow. Okay,
So,
hold on. Before we get into that, let's rewind. Let's hit the rewind button a little bit
yep.
because I want to know a little bit more about Jeff. So, where did you grow up?
Okay, so grew up basically in Fallston, Maryland, which is outside Baltimore. Little
Okay.
suburbs out there. Perfect childhood. My parents were amazing. I grew up playing soccer and lacrosse.
Okay. Cool.
I have a
Lacrosse
twin
is kind
brother.
of a cool sport.
Oh yeah, when they introduced me to lacrosse and they said, "Here, you get to take a stick and you can beat people with it," I was like, "You
Cool.
gotta be kidding me!" We didn't have hockey, so that's the closest thing we had to hockey, and it was awesome. I have a
Like
twin
field
brother.
hockey.
Yeah,
You
there's
have a
no
twin.
hockey.
You have a twin brother.
Yeah, I have a twin brother. Yeah, actually,
Okay. So,
I'm 2 minutes older, so actually, I'm the one that's the king.
are you guys identical or?
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
And even now
I.
at this age, people still mistake us for each other.
No kidding.
Yeah, no,
That's so cool.
I don't think we look that much alike anymore. But when we were growing up, we were pretty close.
Did you guys ever do the swaparoo?
No, we had different taste in girls.
Well, I wasn't just talking about girls, man. That could have been with teachers, principal, police.
No, no, he wasn't in the same class as I were, and his classes were not remedial, but less than mine.
Ah, so you were the more intelligent one of the two.
And the better
that-
looking, and the better looking one.
Of course,
and the more
without
humble
saying.
one.
We got to send him. We'll send him a copy of this podcast
love
for him
it.
to listen to. So is that your only sibling, or did you have other siblings?
No, I've got a little brother. He's 4.5 years younger than I am.
Okay, all right. So let's talk about being identical twins.
Mm-hmm.
Did your parents do that whole like let's dress them exactly the same so you can't tell the difference between them or anything like that, or did they keep you guys' identity separate?
No, my mom actually dressed us in different colors to make
Nice.
sure that it was easy to tell us apart. Although
Good for you.
I don't know why she needed to, because I was always heavier than he was. So it was
Okay.
pretty easy to tell the difference because there was the chubby one and then there was the thin one. I grew up having to wear, what did they call it? The husky sizes.
Oh yeah, that was me.
And he wore slim. So going
wow.
through middle school was miserable because I was husky.
Yeah, dude, I know exactly. I know exactly what you're saying. I 100% understood. All the kids were getting the fashionable. Back in my day in grade school, I think it was called James jeans and San Francisco jeans or something like that. But I was so large that they were too tight for me to wear, and I was trying to pinch them on, man, because I wanted to wear those jeans like everybody else was, but I didn't. I couldn't fit in them, man. So I know that feeling of being husky in junior high, grade school, and junior high school, and all that.
I just wish now people would refer to me as husky because I like that sound of that better.
I think the times have changed, man.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so you're growing up with your identical twin brother, and you have a younger brother. What was like where'd you go to school in junior high school? What was that like?
High school, middle school, and high school was Fallston High School in Harford County, Maryland. Like I said, we played soccer and lacrosse. Great soccer and lacrosse teams. All the other schools had really good football teams. At that point, we didn't really have good football because most of the good athletes played soccer. And
Okay.
so we finished high school, and then my brother and I went to St. Mary's in Southern Maryland, which was beautiful college. When we got in there, it was rated 11th party school in the nation by Playboy magazine. And
Wow.
then when I graduated, it was rated one of the #1 liberal arts college on the East Coast. So
Wow.
you talk about
Sweet.
skating in at the right time.
Yeah, you did the right. You helped that college out immensely, didn't you?
Oh, it was perfect. Oh, yes, me. Yeah, it was all me. Yeah. No, after I graduated, and people were like, "Where'd you go to school?" I'm like, St. Mary's. Like, oh, wow. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Cool. So what did you study in college?
Well, so this is a little embarrassing, but I decided that my sophomore year, I would declare a major in my best subjects in my fall semester.
Okay.
So I did really well in art and in a political science class. So
Okay.
I declared my major as political science.
Okay, and explain that to me a little bit. Poly, they call
Well,
it poli sci, right?
yeah, yeah. I
And
thought
what
I
is
won.
political science?
Well, actually, you study constitutional law, you study politics, you study a lot of various topics within that realm. And originally, I thought I might want to be an attorney, but
Okay.
then I took a constitutional law class, and that killed any thought at all about doing anything with law. I could not deal with the class. It was so dry. And if read legal documents, you can't understand what they mean.
Yeah.
And constitutional
And that's
law
why you
was
pay
the
somebody else to
epitome
do
of
it.
that. Oh,
Okay.
so I still kept with political science. Decided that maybe I'll go into the FBI or something like that when I graduate. So I graduate, and then I find out that the FBI at that time wouldn't take you right out of college unless you had a specialized degree that they needed, you were bilingual, or you had 5 years work experience. So never looked back at it.
Okay.
But it was, that's
what'd
what
you
was
do?
my idea.
So what'd you
But
do then after realizing that you couldn't join the FBI? What were your
I,
options then?
I went back to landscaping for about 9 months after college while I was looking for a job. And then I happened upon this job at DeWalt, and it was for a assistant service center manager. So I was like thinking about applying and then thinking maybe not. And my ex-wife told me I was a moron and I should apply because I'd be perfect for the job. So I went ahead and applied, and it turns out that they needed somebody in St. Petersburg, Florida, very quickly. So I did a couple of interviews, and then a week after my last interview, they're like, okay, we want you down in Florida in 3 weeks. So, yeah, and I was assistant manager of a service center, but basically I was the manager because the guy I reported to was actually in Tampa, Florida. So I'm all of like 23 years old, and they hand me the keys to the store, and they're like, okay, you have to manage the service center. And now I had used tools a little bit, but I had no idea about how to take them apart, put them together, do anything at all. And so it was awesome. I was there for about 16 months in St. Petersburg, and then I moved up actually into Columbia, Maryland, and I managed our store that we had in Bladensburg, Maryland, which is right outside DC. But when I accepted the job, I didn't know any better, and I thought Bladensburg was in Virginia.
Oh.
So I thought I was moving to a real nice area of Virginia because I never double checked on it. And so I actually look up Bladensburg, and I find out exactly where it is in Maryland. I'm like, oh boy, I don't know if that's the right area for this boy. But it was a great learning experience. It was awesome. The area we were in was less than stellar. So our store, after I took over, I think we got broken into like 6 times in a 2-month period. Yeah, at one point I was having iron bars put up across the front to protect all the windows. And while the bars are going up, somebody still breaks in and wipes out a bunch of tools. Yeah, I got robbed at gunpoint one time.
What?
Yeah. We were closing up. Everybody else is in the back of the store. And this younger guy comes in, he puts a couple things on the counter. I bring it up, give him the total, and I'm like, okay. And then he sits there for a minute, and I'm thinking, okay, he's trying to figure out if he's got enough money to pay, not thinking anything of it. And the next thing I know, he pulls out a gun, he puts it right in my face, and I was probably about 2.5, 3 feet away from him. And the stupid part of my brain looks at the gun and goes, "That looks like a 22." And then the smart part of my brain kicked in and went, "Hey, idiot, it's in the middle of your face. It doesn't matter what caliber it is."
That's right.
So I pretended like I couldn't open the register, hoping somebody would come from the back and scare him off or something. And of course, nobody comes up. So then he starts waving the gun a little bit, and I'm like, "Here, take the register."
Take the whole thing.
I gave him the whole thing. The funniest part was that night I get a call at my house from the vice president of the service operations, great guy named Les Ireland, calls me up, and the first thing he says is, "I thought we trained our service center managers better." And I'm thinking, what in the hell is that? He goes,
right.
"We can't afford to give away cash. You need to give away product."
Give me a break.
And then the best thing he said is, like, look, he said, "There's nothing I can do or say to take away what happened today and what the traumatic experience you went through." He goes, "But the least I can do is have you take your wife out to dinner, go someplace nice, and just try to forget about it, you know." But yeah, it was wild. You know, that was the first and only time I've ever been held up.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
That should never happen, but what a great story. I mean, I'm glad you're
well,
okay.
The fact that
and
nothing bad
right.
happened other than we lost some cash was pretty good for me.
So let's talk about those service centers. I used to have one locally in my region.
Yep.
And I used to go in there, and man, I would get some deals on blades sometimes. And sometimes I was watching these guys, like I'd bring a broken tool. Like that's when the 18 volts, when I started going to those service centers, it's when your 18 volt stuff had just come out, and impact drivers, like your 18 volt impact drivers, things like that. And they would just rip those things apart and like, "Oh yeah, the motor's burned out." And they drop a new motor in it. And sometimes they'd fix it right on the fly. If they had time, you know.
The service side of DeWalt, when they launched DeWalt, the service side was incredible. Absolutely incredible. They had 120 something service centers in the heyday. We had them everywhere. And
yeah,
the quality of repair that was given, it was awesome. I mean, that was a lot of fun doing that job and being able to help customers out. You know, that was fun. I mean, we started a van program where we drive around to the biggest customers and pick up repairs for them, you know, take them back out to them. We did a lot of emergency repairs, like when you were standing there. So if you came in with a miter saw and you're like, "Man, I need this today," we would pull a tech and say, "Hey, get this going for this guy as fast as you can." You know, so that was cool. So I did it for about 4 years, ended up managing a service center in Virginia and Bladensburg at the same time. And about that time, I'm watching the DeWalt wave just continue to grow because this was still in the mid-90s. So I decided to change it up and go into sales because everybody in sales was being promoted. So in service, there wasn't as much opportunity for growth. Right. So I'm like, okay, I want to do the sales thing. So I moved out to Noblesville, Indiana. And I'm talking about a great place to live. One of the most family-friendly places I've ever been. And I did commercial sales, what we call industrial sales construction. After 3 years of doing that, I went out and ran one of the field marketing teams out of Detroit, Michigan. So field marketing, we would hire kids right out of college and train them on the tools and then send them to job sites to do research, try and convert people over to DeWalt. We actually, the year I was a manager, we hired like 200, I think it was 200 kids or something crazy. So we had a fleet of yellow trucks all across the country. It was awesome. And the job sites that we got to take to go on to do research was incredible. Like we were in the Tiger Stadium when they were redoing that, building the new stadium, a couple different other stadium projects. So I did that for a while, and that was a blast. I mean, just a ton of fun. Then I went and joined their training department in Towson, Maryland, which was a lot of fun too, because we were actually able to do anywhere from intro training to sales training to even advanced training. So we would teach the advanced classes more about commercial applications, anchors, different products, how to select the right products for the job. And it was awesome, because at the whole time DeWalt's just going like this. I mean, this was in the DeWalt heyday. And so I did that for a while. Then I went back into sales and did national account sales for a couple years. Then I went into channel marketing, and then I spent the last 10 years in product development. And
fun.
That was the most fun. I mean,
oh man,
it was great. I started off doing a little bit with some of the specialty cordless products, and then I ran rotary hammers for 3 years. And that was just awesome, because our design center is still there in Idstein, Germany. So I would go over to Germany regularly to work with the engineers. And
oh wow, cool.
That was so much fun. So after 3 years, then I took over all the saws and woodworking products for North America. So I was doing table saws, miter saws, routers, jigsaws, everything. We had planers, and it was incredible. I still, to this day, shake my head, because I cannot get over how many 12-inch slide miter saws DeWalt has sold for years. For the 6 years that I was in charge of it, I couldn't get over how many. I mean, we were moving over 200,000 12-inch slide miter saws just in the U.S. alone.
Well, I must say it is a workhorse. It's an excellent saw, and when they went to the FlexVolt version, even though it started with 2 batteries, we could run that thing all day on 2 batteries, and it would hit harder than if you had it plugged in. So we still use that saw. We have 3 of them. The
FlexVolt product, when they developed it, it was incredible. We actually had to test. The engineers designed this test where they hooked up a corded miter saw, and the FlexVolt saw running on batteries, and they had it all wired up, and they had it all put on a screen. And when you pulled the trigger, it would show you how fast it was getting up to full speed. So you do it with the corded unit, then you did it with the cordless unit, and the cordless unit was like so much faster. How fast it got up to speed. In addition, they made this sled. This was probably one of the coolest things. I don't even think I have videos of it anymore, but they had this sled made out. It's this long sled, probably about 10 feet long, and they had a corded worm drive saw. No, it was a regular circular saw, the FlexVolt circular saw, and then another battery one, I think. And they were weighted, and they had a magnetic release, so they were all the same amount of weight pulling them through the boards.
Okay.
And you'd push the button, and they would let the magnets go, and the timer would start, and then the saws would go down, ripping through the material. And the FlexVolt saw was faster than any other saw.
Yeah,
it was
that rear handle saw, the FlexVolt. It's heavy, but it's a beast, and it does not bog down. It doesn't bog down. It's a great tool. I know that we're talking about kind of a competing brand right now to Stabila, but it's a really awesome. Thank you for sharing this information with us, because I think it's really cool to be able to talk about your backstory, and I'm just excited. I mean, I love tools. I mean, we do lots of tool reviews on our channel and on our social media and stuff like that, and it's cool to hear the passion that you have for the tools as well. So I want you to keep going and talk about it as much as you want, because I find it very interesting. As a matter of fact, as a quick side note, I was invited to Baltimore to come to the event in 2020 or 2021. It was a DeWalt when they released the FlexVolt technology.
So that was 2018 or 2019.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it was a little earlier.
Yeah,
whenever that was.
Because I left DeWalt in October 2019, so it was before then. And the energy behind that Flex Volt launch and
Yeah.
the products that came in after that, just amazing. You know, I mean, the table saw, you know, that was one of my
Yeah.
babies as well, and that just awesome. We played around with so many other ideas also coming out with that. I mean, we had a
Oh
60-volt
man.
router we were looking at, you know. Oh,
Oh, I bet.
that was probably
I
one of the
bet.
most fun things was the engineers that I worked with, just scary smart, and coming up with all these concepts and bringing me prototypes. I mean, we brought out the little circ saw that's got the long handle on it, and
4-inch.
yeah, that was one of our guys who was like in the basement, who just cobbles stuff together, and all of a sudden one day he shows up and he hands me this thing, and we called it a Frankenstein model because they just made it from a bunch of parts of other stuff. And he's like, "Do you think there's any value in this?" And I'm like, I don't know. So I gave it to one of my product managers, a guy named Tom Hart, and he went out and researched it, did all this stuff, came back and goes, "My God, people love this little circ saw. Because of the long handle, if you're cutting sheet goods, you can reach across it all the way without, you know, because you had that longer thing, you didn't have to stretch as much." So, you know, it was that kind of stuff in the product development side that I just, every once in a while, it felt like Christmas. You know, an engineer would bring up
Yeah.
another concept. You know,
Yep.
when we launched their little cordless router, we were playing around with two different motor designs. They had a brushless motor and a regular motor, and we were working around with it. And then we brought that one out. At the same time, we brought out the brushless random orbit sander. We also did the jigsaw with the brushless jigsaw. It was just, I think I counted it up before I started working at Stabila, and I think I was involved with 50 different product launches in my
Wow.
career. Yeah. Oh,
Congratulations. That's awesome.
it was so cool because, like, our engineering teams, we would have, you know, on an engineering team, you might have anywhere from 2 or 3 design engineers, 1 or 2 electronic engineers, a brushless engineer, an industrial designer, and we would have anywhere at one time, I might have 6 different projects going within my group.
Interesting.
So yeah,
Okay, so let me ask you something.
yes,
So I'm a firm believer in this, and I've talked to a lot of people about it, even some DeWalt reps. I just met one at Home Depot the other day, and we took a selfie, and I'm going to post it on my socials. But these tool companies make tools to sell batteries. True or false?
that was not
In your
the
opinion.
case. That was not the case. I don't think it started that way. I don't know if it is that way, but I know when we started with the battery products way back, even the Black& Decker Industrial and Black & Decker Professional, it was all about the ease of use for the contractor and getting away from the cord. I know right now the battery market is a huge market and it's a great moneymaker for the companies, but
Batteries cost more than the tools.
and the battery technology that these guys keep looking at is incredible. I mean, I remember our battery engineers and the battery lab that they had for testing. And I remember when we switched from NiCad to lithium,
Right.
you know, and NiCad
Yeah.
was a great battery system. Great battery system. It was better at high temperatures, better at low temperatures. Just phenomenal. But with the new lithium and no memory loss when the battery's charged and just sits on the shelf, can sit there for 6 months. I mean, but you know, they had to start adding a bunch of electronics in to control the lithium batteries.
Right.
You know, NiCad
I mean, I've
was a
had
nice
several.
system.
I'm sorry.
No,
I have had several go bad on me, and some of them are warranted, some of them aren't. And when you're spending $200 to $300 a crack, that can add up. I was asking the president of DeWalt when when we were at that event. I was like, "Hey, are you guys going to dabble in lipo at all? Lithium polymer?" because every drone I fly, they're like a DJI drone to last 30 minutes in the air. That's an incredible amount of juice that you're using on a machine to get it to hover and fly around and do what you want it to. So I kind of went to him and they said, well, he immediately handed me to his head technician who was standing right next to him, basically to answer those kind of questions. And he told me that the technology wasn't there for their tools, and there was a heat issue that they were trying to resolve. And so I think it was kind of a dead in the water question, where I just don't think that LiPo is coming out anytime soon in battery technology for tools. But I'm kind of curious if it will, because it's definitely hitting other markets, the drone market, automotive. I have a LiPo battery in my chopper because it's the only thing that'll start my chopper. A standard battery won't do it. A lead acid won't do it. And I know that there's like some people like, that's a bomb you're sitting on top of a bomb, man. I'm like, okay, it hasn't blown up yet, but yeah.
Well, it's interesting because you were asking about the batteries, and I remember all the different conversations that they were having about the different technologies, about pouch cells, about this and that. And it's fascinating if you think about the power tool companies right now with DeWalt, Milwaukee, Makita, these guys, Bosch, the amount of money that they spend in research and development on battery technology alone.
Yeah, it's very proprietary, isn't it?
Oh, it's. I mean, when you think about the tools now that they're running, I mean, I saw DeWalt just launched their line of big stuff like Milwaukee MX products.
Yeah. It's insane. If you want to see all that in one location in the future, anybody listening, go to the World of Concrete. You will find you can geek out on tools for days. I mean, and you can play with they've got the biggest cordless concrete cutters, core drills. I mean, I was like, whoa, plate compactors, all that cool stuff.
You have to admit that. Jeff, you have to admit that is one of the coolest shows you'll ever see.
Yeah, I didn't go last year, and I kind of regret it. I'm probably going to make the time and go this year, just to hit the tool companies, man, and see, check out our relationships with some of these guys. You guys sponsor that, right?
We sponsor part of the Spec Mix event, which is the fastest trowel, the bricklayer contests.
Yeah, the bricklayer contest.
The first year I went to, as part of Stabila, and watched the Spec Mix event was incredible. It's like the Super Bowl for bricklayers. And watching everybody there, watching the speed, with these guys setting up these walls. And for the short amount of time they have, the guy's putting in like 750 bricks, in like an hour or something. I mean, it's amazing. That is my favorite show of all time. And I still go back to visit my friends at DeWalt and go see if there's anybody in the other power tool booths that I know, because a lot of my friends have migrated to different companies.
Sure. So, okay, thank you for that DeWalt segment. We could probably finish the rest of the podcast with it, but we should probably jump into your current position with Stabila. And how did the transition work from DeWalt to Stabila?
Well, it was interesting because October of 2019, I was downsized, so they took my department and removed me and gave my department actually to a good friend of mine, Mike Gorman, who was running. He had all nails and fastening, so he had a whole separate division. So when they went through their restructure and they moved me out, they gave my whole team to him. So suddenly his team got huge, and I started looking for the new opportunity. And I got a call from a headhunter and asked if I was interested in a position at Stabila. And it happened to be president and CEO. And at first I was like, I'm really interested in the position, but I don't want to move anywhere near Chicago. And that was just based off my ignorance of the state of Illinois, because I just was thinking most of Chicago is like that industrial area around O'Hare, where when you leave O'Hare for about 20 minutes, It's just commercial projects, commercial stuff, industrial. And so I wasn't as excited about the interview because I didn't want to move to Chicago. But when I went out for the interview and they're driving me out past Chicago, past the suburbs, out to down by Geneva and Lake Charles, St. Charles, and I'm like, oh my God, this is really nice out here. And then I had the interview, which was awesome. I met the president of the company from Germany, Dr. Ulrich Donny. He's been in charge for, I guess, since 2014, so I guess 12 years now. Phenomenal man, just really good. And went through the interview, came back and said, yeah, I feel really good about it. And then they called me back and they wanted me to come out for what I thought was a second interview at the location to visit our distribution center and meet the people. So I'm thinking it's a big interview. And it turns out it was more of a site visit for them to kind of meet me and do just one interview with the CMO, Holger Binder from Germany. So went out there, really cool visit. I'm driving back to the airport. So I called my current wife and I was like, she's like, how was it? I go, well, Diana, it was weird. I go, it didn't feel like a normal interview. I said, I feel like I was just there to be evaluated. So then the next day I get an email from Dr. Donny and he's like, congratulations, we'll talk on Monday. I'm like, well, thanks.
Wow.
Looking forward to talk on Monday.
Yeah.
So I started in January of 2020 and it was actually an easy transition because I went from yellow and black to yellow and black. So
right.
For me, I was already used to the color scheme. So that was pretty easy. And joining a brand that has such a great reputation, I was with DeWalt when it went all the way up, and was on top of everything. So to join another company that made high-end product, or actually higher-end product, was pretty cool. The interesting piece for me was just understanding more about the product. Because I knew something of the company, but I didn't know enough detail about the product because I didn't really pay attention to hand tools, levels, and stuff like that. I knew lasers just from DeWalt because with DeWalt I had done some lasers. But then to learn more about the construction of the product, like you said, when we went to the plant, and you get to see them, and they show you how they do the finishing of the materials, how the vials are created, the accuracy of the vials, the testing, all that, to finally really get it and then go, oh, now it makes sense. Now I know why a 4-foot level costs what it does, because you can't make that product cheaper. If you do, you devalue the product completely.
Correct.
So, that was January of 2020, and ever since then it's just been fun. It's different because the company is smaller than what I'm used to, but the product development process and the testing and the engineering is just outstanding. And it's something really cool when you're walking through an airport and you got a Stabila shirt on and the guy's like, Stabila, oh my God, I love that brand. Or when you're at World of Concrete, and our new marketing team found out this when they were in World of Concrete in January, and they were outside working the Spec Mix event. And the number of people that kept coming up and telling them, man, I use a Stabila every day. That's the best tool I have. They came back to dinner that night and they're like, oh my God, I had no idea the brand was like that. And I was like, I tried to tell you, but until you experience it, you have no idea.
Exactly. Until you experience it, you have no idea. That's really goes really well hand in hand with that brand. Until you put one in your hand, until you go to a trade show and Rich Morse has the level and he goes, "What do you guys think of this?" And he slams it on the ground, and then he picks it back up and says, "Look, and here's a brand new one I haven't touched." And they're the same.
Oh.
And It's really an amazing. I have a quick story that I want to tell. I had an 8-foot blue level that I bought at a home center, and I'm not into trashing brands, but I'm just gonna say who it is.
Go for it.
Okay, so it was a Blue Empire level that I bought at Home Depot, 8-footer. I needed an 8-foot level. I didn't know the difference, and then my wife got me this really sweet jammer kit one year, and this is like, man, this is 20 plus years ago.
Yeah.
And my assistant, he dropped the blue level, and then he dropped some lumber on it or something, and I'm like, dude, really? And we went, and so I was like, it looks straight. It still looks straight. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's level this up. Let's use the 8-footer. Let's level this 4-sided deck, this square. We spent 3 hours screwing around with it because every time we went to level the next side, we kept adjusting it, and it just wasn't right. So I finally took my 6-foot my Stabila, and I stuck it on top of the blue level, and the blue level was off.
Oh yeah. Oh.
So badly, I was like, well, no wonder. So I went over the chop saw with the blue level, and I cut the middle of it out. I cut it in thirds. I was so pissed that I was like, I'm never using this level again. It's crap. It's worthless. After you drop a level. But the Stabila, on the other hand, and especially after seeing how they're made, how they epoxy in the vials to perfection on a microscope or it's a blown up screen. And it's a female doing the work. Okay.
Like you said, when you see it done and you explain the epoxying of the vial in place, so it never moves.
Right.
The vial never moves, you know.
And I think I'm going to get into some of this in our bonus episode, so we don't want to give up too much on this because we're going to have this is a hot topic. A couple things I want to talk about the factory. Let's wait until we go to our Patreon.
Okay.
So if you guys want to hear some of the good stuff that we're going to talk about, jump over to Patreon, subscribe. It's like $5 a month, and then you guys get all the goodies that we talk about after we talk about the standard podcast. But anyway, so I took that level and I cut it up, and now it's an I-beam on my jet ski trailer. It holds my middle jet ski up over the cranker. Because that was the only thing it was good for was the aluminum structure of the level was still good for that, but it ain't level. So, some of the things I saw.
What's so funny is when you talked about your helper dropping a stack of lumber on top of the level. I remember one of my buddies, Dave Kuhn, was testing a table saw for me at DeWalt. I gave him a prototype table saw. Okay, so there's only probably 6 or 8 of these made. Prototypes, very expensive. I give it to him. He calls me up like 2 or 3 days later, and he tells me that the table saw failed the tailgate test. And I'm like,
okay.
What are you talking about, tailgate test? He goes, well, I had it on my tailgate, and I started driving away, and it rolled off the back. And I was like, oh my God. But that's a thing. I love the guy, but he could destroy anything.
Wow.
He could destroy anything.
Hey.
So I gave him an R-beam. He's never destroyed it.
Yeah, you're not going to destroy the R-beam. That's hilarious. Good for you. So one thing about tailgates and table saws, as a public safety announcement, don't ever rip anything off the tailgate of your truck on a table saw because it puts you at such a deficit for height that it's dangerous. You'll cut. It's easier to cut something. I'm not going to say what you're going to cut your fingers off, but my dad did. But it's too tall. It's too high. Just put it on the ground. If you don't have a table and you're ripping a lot of stuff, do not use the back of your tailgate unless you're 7 foot tall. Then you might be okay. But for us average dudes, don't do it, man. It's way too dangerous. Something's gonna kick back and get you in the throat instead of in the chest, and it's just a bad situation, man.
And table saws are one of the ones that there's so many accidents on that because people were going, oh, there you go, yeah,
like 40 stitches. I'm lucky I still have it. It was a push stick. It used to be a push stick, not anymore, man.
Yeah, see,
I know. I should.
And as much, even though I was a product manager for table saws for years. That's one of the few tools that I am so overly cautious on
Absolutely.
because
As you
I've
should be.
seen and talked to too many people that I
Yeah.
used to do a lot of woodworking guilds and saw trainings and talk to guys. And every time I'd go, there'd be a member of the Digit Club out there, somebody, and I'm like,
That was a good
oh,
impression, man.
oh, and they'd always want to
Oh,
tell you
yeah.
about it.
Yeah, mine happened so fast. We'll get into it in the bonus feature because or bonus episode. My son's trying to train me on this. So,
You should know by now.
I should know by now. I'm 25 episodes deep into this podcast, and I still say bonus feature for some reason. But we're gonna go back into tools again. I think when we talk in this bonus feature, because I have a few questions for you. Because if you've been in R&D and stuff, man, there's got to be some really good secret sauce in there that I want to hear about.
There's a lot of good stuff there. There's a lot.
Okay, so you're let's okay. So when Stabila and Holger
Yep.
hired you, what was your first year like? Did they move into the big building you're in now? Was it an immediate like?
No. So
Explain how that process went.
So when I took over, they wanted me to come in and improve some operational stuff, work on efficiency, things like that. And we had an old building that we had been in for probably 20 plus years. And one of the things that they had told me is that they really wanted to upgrade the facility. And when I walked into the old building, I'm like, oh my God, I can't even believe they're functioning in this building as it is. Because the building originally, when it was built in the 70s, was 6 individual suites. And they had started off in one of the suites and then grew to take over the whole building. However, 3 suites were at an elevation that was about 3.5 feet higher than the other 3 suites. So when they took over the whole building, they had to cut a doorway in between the top 3 and the bottom 3, and then they cut a pass-through so they could pass product from one side to the other. Because there was no backup dock door, so you couldn't drive a forklift in to load. So everything had to come off the truck on the ground and then in. If you wanted to move big stuff from the top warehouse to the bottom warehouse, and it was winter, you could get the forklift stuck in the snow. The
And you're in
racking
Chicago.
setup was not ideal. The ceiling heights were bad. We didn't have one office. We had 3 separate little offices because of the way it was built out over the years. So my first goal was to find a new building. Well, I also joined, and right after I joined, COVID hit.
Right.
So my first year, I just start with a brand new company. Everything's great. And then 3 months in, COVID hits and everything shuts down. So then we went through the whole exercise of, okay, are we one of the essential workers? Well, yeah, we deal with construction, so we're essential. So we didn't close, but we had to figure out how to juggle the staff so we didn't have everybody in the office at the same time. We didn't have everybody in the warehouse at the same time. So yeah, my first year was quite challenging because, we struggled with the economy. We struggled with product availability. And then in the end, December, I found the new building we were moving to. So in the middle of COVID and everything, I decided that we are moving the company to the new building that we're in now, which is fantastic.
Okay, so hold on. So explain to me, you were hired. How long had Stabila been in the United States before you got involved with the company?
So Stabila has been in the United States since sometime, I believe, in the 70s. And
which makes sense to me, yeah.
Yeah, Stabila Incorporated, I think, was done in 88, 87, is when we created Stabila Inc., which is a subsidiary from Stabila, Germany. It was an interesting story because I believe there was a gentleman out in California years ago, he was an ex-German, that was bringing Stabila over from California and selling it. And then Don Fraser...
He was in California bringing it from Germany?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So he was importing it from Germany into California. And
Okay.
then Don Frazier really got Stabila started. He actually was a Havera rep, and Havera was drill bit manufacturer. And they had some relationship with Stabila. So he was repping Havera and asked if he could have access to the Stabila product at the same time. So he started to bring Stabila in through Chicago. And then Havera was bought out by Bosch, so he lost the Havera line. So he only had Stabila. So he focused in on Stabila, and that was in the 80s. And then his son Mike took over from him and ran it to the time I came over. So it's been around for a while, and the biggest challenge they've had is because they're only sold in tool stores or white cap, high-end
And lumber yards, specialty lumber yards.
Yeah, or specialty lumber yards, not a lot of people know. So my focus has been getting the word out, and that's one of the things with getting you as part of the family, Tim, Kyle, and Ryan, is to get the exposure out there for the brand. And I mean, the growth that we've had has been fantastic over the last 5 years. Even despite COVID, we still grew during the COVID year. But you mentioned Rich Morse before. We've got probably the best tool guy in the market.
I love that guy.
Oh, nobody knows product and application like he does.
I need to reach out to him and get him on this podcast as well, because I think he'd be a cuddle for. We could talk about motorcycles all day long, probably.
Watching him present the layout station is probably one of the best product presentations you'll see.
I need to okay, so for me, I love going to these trade shows, and you guys set up a really nice booth every single time. Every show I've been to, you always have great stuff. Yeah. And Rich, and the times I've been able to see Rich, but usually I'm ducking, I'm in and out, or I'm pinballing at a show because I'm repping all different kinds of companies or whatever. But I've never really been able to take the time and just watch. I did once. And it was it wasn't a drop test. It was a slam the level as hard on the floor as I can test. And just to watch the dudes standing there just like, whoa. It was really impactful. And it was a joy to watch him work, and he's got a craft.
We actually have sample levels that are called drop me levels.
Okay.
That we give out just so you can sit at a show and drop them over and over, just so you can show it. I mean, we have the cutaway level that shows the inside. I don't know if you've ever seen the demo where they take the LAR 350 laser and knock it over the tripod or roll it on the ground.
I've actually experienced that myself. and I'll be honest, I was gonna save that for the bonus episode, but my absolute most favorite tool that you guys make, period. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's close. It's a close one, but I gotta give it to that LAR 350.
Oh,
that tool has gotten me out of more situations so easily, just easy.
When you talk about a rotary laser that can take the abuse, the drop that does, we actually had sales guys that would take it and throw it in the air and then pick it up off the ground and turn it back on and show you how it rarely ever needs calibration. I mean, throwing it.
And the rain, dude. The rain. I've had that thing burning for 6 hours straight in pissing down rain. And I was like, should I get an umbrella for this thing? I'm like, no. It's rated for this. So
that
IP65 or something like that?
That product is the epitome of German engineering.
That's a Porsche on a tripod.
Oh,
Porsche on a tripod.
That thing is crazy. I mean, for the number of units we sell, and we rarely get them back, even for simple calibrations. Mm-hmm. And we do a 5-year free calibration on our rotary lasers.
Oh, you do?
And, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. You probably haven't set yours in either.
No. Why? I haven't had to. I think I've had it more than 5 years now, but or maybe I've been close, but I don't. If it doesn't need it, if it ain't broke. right?
We, like I said, for as many as we sell, we rarely get them in, and we have the most incredible laser tower for checking calibration. It's custom built. There's only 2 in the world, one in Anweiler, Germany, and one in our building. And it's completely designed in-house by one of our engineers.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
It's so high-tech. It's amazing. It is amazing. Yeah, I'll send you some pictures of it so you can see what it looks like.
Yeah, maybe we can. Calvin can toss them in on the podcast.
Yeah.
Send them to me.
Yeah, we'll send them to Cal.
Okay.
Today, please.
Today? Oh yeah, because we're gonna edit. This is coming out on Monday, so in 2 days. So he has to edit this like today or tomorrow.
I can stop by the office and send you some pictures.
We don't want to put you out of your way.
No, I'm going out there anyway. I got some stuff to do, so not a problem.
Okay.
All right. All right. Fair enough. Like, if you can, great. If not, we're not going to trip on it. Okay.
Please, thank you.
No worries.
Yes. And I love these Sport Fit, man, dude. Oh, these are amazing. Like I've been wearing this at work, in 90-degree heat.
So
I love my Sport Fit.
One of the things I wanted to do, but I just haven't gotten the time and effort, is to make a Stabila store and sell the Stabila gear.
Yeah.
But every time I think about it,
stuff.
Every time I think about it, I'm like, oh, there's so many other things we have to get done first.
Yeah. I mean, you guys keep the world plumb. There's certain things that have to happen, but the loyalty to your brand is extremely high. It's one of the highest loyalty retention rates I've ever seen. I think the guys that have your products, they're pissed when they lose them, because it ain't cheap. To have anything nice in life, it costs money. Mm-hmm. So if you have a torpedo level that you spent $50 on, you're probably going to take a little bit better care of it than you do the $10 Home Depot special. That's just the way it is. And you guys have multiple tiers of torpedoes, and you got some top secret stuff that I've been asking for many years sitting over there in Anweiler. And if anybody over there is listening to this podcast, I want my Extendo torpedo. They're probably still sitting in a box at mill finish, not powder coated. Come on, man. Let's go.
So
I saw those.
So you like the oversized torpedo?
I want one.
Okay.
I mean, I know it's weird, but it's just, I don't know. I mean, even Kyle and I, we were sidetracking. We're walking through the factory and I'm like, dude, look at that box. He's like, no way. So we had to go over and investigate. And then we picked one up and we didn't even get to ask. And they're like, put it back. And no, we're not making that for the U.S. market. We look at each other like, oh man, that's too bad. Off we went. Back to the yellow. But that was a fun adventure, man. I really did appreciate that. That was an excellent trip, and we learned so much about your product. Is there anything so far that you want to get out to just the public as far as this podcast, or talk about the brand some more, or anything else that you can think of?
Let's see. No, the only thing my biggest thing that makes me proud right now is when I look at the brand ambassadors that we have, working with you and Tim and Jason and now Ryan, and seeing the outreach that you have with your people as well. And then I love looking like the decks that you do, and I've told you this before. When I see some of the decks that you've done, I'm just like, damn. I'm embarrassed by my deck that I did. And then, to watch and see what Kyle does with his buildings.
Yeah.
And then Ryan, looking at those roof lines, like when I look at his complexity, when he shows, the draft papers of what it's going to look like, and I'm like, how in the hell can he even figure this out?
Yeah. Talk about ability, man. That's insane.
And then Tim has just got such a fun outlook.
Yeah.
I was watching his video the other day where he and one of his guys are doing everything together.
It's a two-man job.
There's so much that you guys have done to help us promote the brand. That makes
Right.
that really feels good, and it's always great to catch up with you and see you. And
Thank you.
Tell Kiki I missed her this morning. I was kind of hoping she would poke her head in.
Not today, no. Sometimes, yeah. If we're on video chat, sometimes she'll jump in, but on the podcast, she's really staying out of it.
Okay.
It's more of me and studio man kind of thing right now. But you never know. You never know. You never know what may happen. But yeah, I think for me and my relationship with Stabila it's just a natural one. You guys never come to me and say, Jason, we really want, you used to. The mothership would sometimes, Nicholas, he might say, hey, why don't you, this month we're promoting this. Why don't you show some of this? I'm like, well, I don't even have this. I don't use that. And if you want me to, I can. But how about if I just do what I do, and then eventually, I'm going to toss another level across, and it never gets old. That's the thing; it just never gets old.
No, the challenge never gets old. The cool thing for me is everything that's done is organic, and that's what we want. Is part of our interaction is we just want you to do what you normally do, how you normally do it, with the products you normally do. We're not looking to have it staged where all of a sudden you're like, oh, look at this. This is the brand new whatever. Then now I'm going to use it even though I've never used a product like this before.
Right. Yeah. And, sometimes we get hung up on some stuff like that with other things we do. But with Stabila, I'll be honest, like you guys have elevated my game. When I got a hold of that LAR 350 and I understood it, and then one day I had to build a deck out of level to match the house. That was in 60 feet. It was out 2.5 inches.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it sank on one corner. And I went to the client and I said, hey, if I build this deck level, it's going to be 2.5 inches out and you're going to see it on the house. And they said, we're aware of this. We feel like we have it, controlled. And I think that we want you to build a deck out of level. So I had to take a 60-foot line and make it askew to match the house. And so I used the LAR 350 and I used the remote and I tipped it and I got it. And then I kept checking the side of the house and 60 feet apart until I got my 2.5 inches, which wasn't a lot. It didn't take a whole lot. But then I was able to mark all my post heights out of level, and it was perfect the first time. I didn't have to recut anything. It was just money.
How challenging is that to have to build something out of level on purpose?
It is a little bit more of a challenge, but to have when you have the right tool,
right,
it makes it obtainable. Once you understand the process. So
that's a wild
to Stabila.
Story.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, I think that about sums it up for this episode of the Dr. Decks podcast. Jeff Beck, thank you so much for being here from Stabila, USA, president. And, stick around, guys. Jump over to our Patreon channel if you want to hear a little bit more from Jeff and a couple other stories that we have to share over there. So thanks for listening and watching. Don't forget, if you're on YouTube watching this, guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified when we're putting out new content. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later. Over and out.
Thank you.